everyone, it's Angelina coming at you with another Tip Tuesday from IndySoft. And this time we are going to be going over WebTier Tools versus Print Server, specifically printing in version 13 WebTier or cloud interfaces. So a little bit about each of the applications. I created this little diagram here that should help visualize things and organize our thoughts because these tools are packed with functionality. So let's start with WebTier Tools. WebTier Tools is an application that is designed to behave as the messenger between the web and the user's local PC. So let's say you have local printers that you want to connect. This is how you do it. If you have an RS-232 device that you want to connect and you're using WebTier or the cloud, you would want to be using WebTier Tools. Same thing when emailing using Mappy or Outlook. So specifically, WebTier Tools is required for RS-232 connections, emailing with Mappy, and legacy P-Touch sticker printing. And what I mean when I say legacy P-Touch sticker printing, and I'm just going to show you right from my WebTier Tools here, is this P-Touch sticker printing option that launches like this, where you have a specific P-Touch label set up with a sticker layout as follows. So this is what we consider the legacy P-Touch software, opposed to using our built-in sticker layouts in Layout Builder. So again, RS-232 connections, I launched that. I collect RS-232 data option here, and emailing with Mappy or Outlook would be from within user location settings. So here RS-232 and email settings here use extended Mappy. As long as I have Outlook open and running on my local PC, this will be able to interact with Outlook via the WebTier Tools application. So both WebTier Tools and Print Server run in the Windows system tray. So in the bottom right hand corner, I just open it up like such. I've got both running currently. So here's WebTier Tools, and right click to access the options within the WebTier Tools application. And here is Print Server. Here you would right click and then go to Print Server settings to check those printer mappings and how often you are polling the database. Alright, so just bouncing back here. When using WebTier Tools to print, specifically using the printer routing, not legacy P-Touch sticker printing, you would go into user location settings from the WebTier Tools application. So this is a very important distinction because if you launch user location settings from within the web and go into your printer routing, you are not going to be able to see any of your local printers that are stored in your Windows printer settings, for example, here. So if you're trying to set up your printers and you're seeing a limited list when you check your user location settings printer routing in the browser, that is why you need to be accessing this section from within the WebTier Tools application. So we'll go into here, right click, go to user location settings. And from here, I'll go into my printer routing. And I have set up my printer 2 as my brother printer here. This is my printer that is using WebTier Tools. Along with that, you'll go ahead and in application settings assign the checkbox for use IndySoft WebTier Tools when using WebTier. As long as you have that checked, it's going to be connecting back to the main interface when printing. And if that's all set up, you can save and close here. And that printer routing is going to go back to however you have your report rules set up in workflow configuration. So, for example, on my calibration event, there is a report rule for a sticker to prompt for report. It will print this report upon confirmation to whichever printer I designated as printer 2. And we saw before I designated my printer 2 as my brother printer. And I just took this little screenshot for reference as well. So here's my WebTier Tools pointing to the local printer, it's printer 2. Alright, so going back to the print server, remember it's only printing related, so it's not going to control anything like your RS-232 connections or emailing settings within IndySoft. But it is going to serve as a print server, which is going to run the application and check the database for print requests. So it's a pretty nifty little tool. It's pretty versatile as well. You can set this up on a designated server or on a user's PC, which is what I've done for testing purposes. So if you right-click on your print server icon, you can pause printing, go into your print server settings, and view the queue as well. In your print server settings, you can add your printer mappings as such, and add a friendly name as well. And this is going to store this printer mapping to the database as the full name, server name, printer name. You can manually adjust your server name, but if you don't, it's going to just pull in whatever the name of your PC is. So if you have that all set up, then it should store back to the database so that when you're in the client and you go into your printer routing, you should be able to choose a print server printer from your drop-down list. And as you can see here, I have my 2 printers listed, and Henry also has printers listed. So theoretically speaking, I should also be able to print to Henry's brother printer from here, as long as I have a successful connection and he has the print server running on his PC. As long as that is all set up correctly, you should be able to save and close. And again, this is printer 1 set up to a print server printer. You can tell by the formatting, it has the server name colon printer name. And then here is my local printer set up through WebTier Tools. Some perks of the print server is that you can have multiple people connecting to the same printer and only set up the printer one time on the print server. So, for example, if you had a main document printer in the lab that you wanted to set on a print server, you could run the print server application and get that printer mapped and set up in there, and then have all the users go into their printer routing and map to that specific print server printer. So that's a really cool feature of using the print server. Again, those printers are stored in the DB, and the print server application does not require a user login, opposed to the WebTier Tools app, which does require the user login. So when user launches WebTier Tools, they are going to be prompted to sign in with their IndySoft login to access all of their settings successfully. And both of these applications run via a 3-tier connection to the database. So if you are connecting to cloud or WebTier, you need to have a 3-tier service set up so that in your database settings of print server or WebTier Tools, you can connect to your 3-tier settings and the designated database. All right, if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to IndySoft and we are always happy to help. Thank you and happy calibrating.